Hello, family, and welcome back to the From Egypt to Zion show. And if you're a first time visitor, welcome. This is an important update entitled The Judgment of Yahuwah is Upon the United States of America. And family, no reparations have been awarded to Blacks or Negroes who are the true Israelites, but other groups have benefited from slavery and the effects of it. In 1971, 1 billion plus 44 million acres of land was awarded to the Alaskan natives via a land settlement. In 1980, 81 million awarded to the Klamaths of Oregon. In 1985, 31 million awarded to the Chippewa Indians of Wisconsin. In 1985, 12.3 million awarded to the Seminole Indians of Florida. In 1985, 105 million to the Sioux Indians of South Dakota. In 1986, 32 million, an 1836 treaty awarded to the Ottawas of Michigan. In 1990, 1.2 billion reparations for Japanese Americans interned during World War II. Do you think that any of these so-called Indian tribes that were awarded were actually the true Aboriginals? I think not. In 1990, well, you guessed it, 25 million to Austria's so-called Holocaust survivors, who, I might add, are of the synagogue of Satan, as Revelations points out. These are the Ashkenazi Jews who continue to benefit financially in this country and abroad. These are the same individuals who actually enslaved the true tribe of Judah and scattered them to the four corners of the earth. And these people continue to hide behind the name Jewish because they are not the true tribe of Judah, but in fact the synagogue of Satan. These are the same people who continue to use Blacks through various forms of entertainment. They use them in their numbers games, in their sacrifices, their blood sacrifices, and their rituals. And they continue to make money off of the entertainers, especially when they die. The money never goes back to that entertainer's family, but in fact to the Jew, who is the managers and the producers and various other forms of staff in the entertainment industry. And family, this chart can be found in Black Reparations Now, Part 1, 40 Acres, $50 and a Mule by Dorothy Benton Lewis, BRC. And again, these Jews have the nations, including the United States, fooled because they are inheriting lies from their forefathers. And family, if you don't know by now that judgment has hit the United States of America, just turn on any news station and you will see that that's exactly what's going on in this nation. Through wildfires, through inclement weather and tornadoes, through opioid crisis, through drug overdose deaths, through mass shootings, and many other things that are taking place in this nation. And I will begin to present my case coming up, and you will see that this is indeed the judgment of Yah on the United States of America. Whites want blacks to forget and remain silent on the slavery that occurred and the racism we experience in America. Statements made by many white people. Slavery ended long time ago. Or, my parents and grandparents never owned slaves. Or, racism and slavery no longer exist. Or, why can't you blacks forget about the past? Meanwhile, there is an increase in unarmed black civilians being killed by cops. There is an increase in hate crimes against black civilians. There is an increase in white nationalism in the United States since the installation of Donald Trump as the 45th president. There is an increase in cultural appropriation among whites and non-blacks benefiting off of grants meant for African Americans. Ashkenazi Jews, who is the synagogue of Satan, often use blacks in many of their rituals and blood sacrifices and murders for organ donations to the wealthy and the elites. And family, YouTube, if you notice, have been shutting many channels down because they don't want this truth to get out. So what they do is they shut channels down, or they censor them, or they make it where many people will not be able to find a channel because they don't want to cause mass hysteria, because the truth of the matter is the judgment of Yahuwah is upon this land, and there is nothing that they can do, no ritual or nothing that they attempt to do is going to stop the judgment that is coming to America and coming to them for their wicked deeds towards God's chosen elect race of people. Tornadoes and inclement weather. Now, family, I'm not suggesting that the Negro cannot experience Yah's judgment, because we all have to experience the judgment of Yah. In fact, many of us are experiencing judgment from the sins of our forefathers, and we are going to each have to take account for every deed and thought in our lives. And that does not negate judgment coming upon the wicked people who consider themselves the superior race. Because in reality, we all have to stand before Yahuwah in judgment. Through these tornadoes and inclement weather, they do not show normal patterns. Now, family, you have to ask yourself, why would there be 10, 11, and often sometimes 12 tornadoes in a region, and it's causing mass destruction? Or why there is a wildfire that's continuing to be fanned and unable to be extinguished, and it's hitting certain targets and not hurting the earth as it states in Revelations when the seals are open and Yahuwah tells the angels to hold back the winds, because he wants to preserve his creation but destroy the wickedness and the wicked buildings of the human population who uses materialism as their gods. Yes, family, joy is coming to America. And what I mean by joy is the judgment of Yah. Now we have the opioid crisis. According to a recent study and cited on Vox, The United States often measures the severity of its opioid crisis in drug overdose deaths. Driven by prescription opioid heroin and the deadly synthetic opioid fentanyl, drug overdoses claimed 64,000 lives in 2016 alone, more than the entire death toll during the Vietnam War. And not only are these addicts on these drugs, many of them are contracting hepatitis C and other deadly diseases as a result in their drug habits. For more information on this, visit this particular website. Here's the hypocrisy, family. In the 1980s and 90s, and currently, Negroes were jailed and imprisoned for selling drugs as well as for having addiction to these drugs. There was no sympathy for the Negro. However, currently, since it's occurring to Caucasians, now it is treated as a sickness or an illness. You see the hypocrisy in that, family? This is another reason why joy, I call it joy, because it is the judgment of Yah on this nation. This is one of the reasons that the judgment of Yahuwah has hit the United States of America. Now, family, we're going to talk about the California wildfires. Now, there are many theories out, and right now there are people talking about lasers being the causes of many of these fires, to some people saying that Camp Fire was lit by someone and that it spread. Well, we're going to talk about this, and we're going to assess the situation and see if any of those fit what's actually occurring with the California wildfires. According to a November 10th, 2018 report posted online by BBC.com, the fire broke out near Thousand Oaks, an area about 40 miles or 64 kilometers northwest of central Los Angeles, where an attacker killed 12 people on Wednesday, prompting the evacuation of 75,000 homes. 1,000 more residents have now been ordered to evacuate from several more towns to the west of Thousand Oaks, including Calabasas, immediately south of Highway 101, and Malibu on the coast, as well as from the western edge of Los Angeles. The 20,000 acre or 8,100 hectare campfire, which is what they're calling it, a campfire, which started on Thursday near Camp Creek, has destroyed the town of Paradise. The Butte County Sheriff's Office said 5 victims had been burned to death in their cars and could not immediately be identified. The fire is being driven west by 35 miles per hour, 56 kilometers per hour, winds, fire officials said. Okay, family, there's a link to where this article was found. Although these news sources are reporting it as a quote-unquote campfire, the truth is most campfires can actually be extinguished. However, many of these new news sources report these happenings as though they are only caused by man's doing, when in reality, the imminent truth is this. This is the judgment of Yahuwah on Hollywood and the sins of this nation. This is the reality of what is actually flaming these fires, but many people do not want to accept this truth. Volcanoes. According to a USA article, the most dangerous volcano in the nation is Hawaii's Kilauea, the Big Island volcano that's been erupting this year. The others in the top 5 are Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier in Washington, Alaska's Redoubt volcano, and California's Mount Shasta. According to the report, the new assessment is not a forecast or indication of which volcanoes are most likely to erupt next, but rather it is an indicator of the potential severity of impacts that may result from future eruptions at any given volcano. Now, for more information on this, you can follow the link below. However, family, my assessment of this volcanoes is that hell is unleashing itself on earth. That's right. Hell is unleashing itself. It has started to enlarge itself and it is erupting on the earth. It is my belief that when the Most High, his son Yahushua, returns, that many hills and valleys, according to the scriptures, are going to break apart and the waters are going to turn red as fire and many hills and cliffs are going to open up and spew out what is hell on this earth. That is my theory, family. And I believe that because when you read the scripture, all of this points to these things that are occurring. Now, many people want to wave this off as myths. They don't believe in the word of Yahuwah. They don't read the Bible. And therefore, many people are going to fall in the end. And it is my prayer that many of our people wake up before it is too late. Now, family, we're going to turn to the decline in birth rates. According to a recent online article called RT.com, deaths of white people outnumbered births for the very first time in U.S. history, the Census Bureau revealed Thursday. The census predicts that significant drop in birth rates versus death rates will be regular by 2025. The new 2012 annual census calculated births minus death as of July 2012 and saw a decrease of about 12,400 people out of 198 million non-Hispanic whites in the country. Several demographers have pointed out that no other racial group in the United States experienced a similar drop. Such a natural decrease within the white population is the first of its kind and was not even observed in the U.S. during wars or the Great Depression, the Washington Post reported. Now, for more information on this family, view the link below which I have provided. Now, family, it is no secret that the judgment of Yah is here in the United States of America. Now, many people don't want to accept this fact, but here it is staring right down at us through this news article. The only thing that people can do is to repent, turn from their sins, but sadly, many of them will not because of unbelief and because of pride. And family tables are turning. Curses are slowly removing off the Negroes and blacks who are true Israel, those who are keeping Yahuwah's laws and are awakening to the truth. Many Negroes are awakening to their true identity. Many Negro men and women are getting away from processed hairs through perms and relaxers and returning to their natural hair and hair which is more healthier and growing and using natural hair care products. Many Negroes are starting to keep the dietary laws given by the Most High Yahuwah. Many Negroes are returning to keeping the laws, statutes, precepts, and feasts of Yahuwah. And for this, we continue to praise the Most High for his knowledge and we must continue to study to show ourselves approved by continuing to search the scriptures so that we can know the promises that our Elohim has for us. Yes, family, our redemption draws near, and joy is coming to the United States of America through a final judgment. Although everyone must stand before the Creator to give account for every deed and thought in their lives. However, the very people who Caucasians and other non-Negro people from other nations who have a perpetual hatred against the Negro are going to be the very people they are going to have to stand in judgment about before the Most High Yahuwah and take into account for all of their wicked deeds, evil thoughts toward, and also for the hatred they have had in their hearts over the Negro. Because although Yahuwah allowed judgment to fall on the Negro, it was only supposed to be a temporary punishment which had an end. Yahuwah never intended for Caucasians and other non-blacks to continue to abuse, mistreat, persecute, and kill his chosen people. And family, thank you for tuning in. If this has been a blessing, this video has been a blessing to you, please share, like, and subscribe to video so that someone else may also receive a blessing from this message. Thank you. And family, thank you for tuning in. And with this presentation completed, I say to you, Shalom.